In the past video concerning the earthquakes we just had today in Los Angeles and the Garlic Faults in the Ridgecrest area, this is the exact area where we have the mantle plume coming in from Baja. And you can see the cross section right here on the right from Ridgecrest joining to Yellowstone. And this, of course, study was completed before the Ridgecrest earthquake. So I guess it's a type of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know. Here you have the circle even. The circle is right over a Ridgecrest. And as we said, this study was completed before the July earthquakes. And you can see, depending on the depths of it, that it reaches up to Yellowstone. So this is what has been found by the special techniques that they have in technology today. Yellowstone volcano mantle rock extends westward to Northern California and Oregon. This is what the geologists announced after making this shocking discovery. The Yellowstone supervolcano mantle rock spreads sideways for more than 500 miles, that's 804 kilometers, from Wyoming in northwest US, moving deep below the Earth's crust, and the mantle rock is a source of scorching, low-density rock that has fueled the supervolcano past eruptions. For a long time, the geologists suspected Yellowstone sits on top of a mantle plume, the long columns of hot rock that channel heat from deep inside of the planet. The geologists at San Diego State University, SDUSU, Victor Camp, now found that this mantle rock has moved towards the Pacific over long periods of time. He self-funded his research and on this Yellowstone study, published his findings in the journal Geology. He said, since the plume is not controlled by plate tectonics, it can rise and emerge anywhere on Earth, depending on where it manages to break through the Earth's surface. And he explains, so knowing this will help us understand supereruptions that have occurred before and those that will occur in the future. And according to him, the mantle rock moved along narrow flow line channels deep below the crust. The mantle rock then branched out into 2 points, once at Yellowstone and the second time at the California-Oregon border. One set of flow lines have since ended at the Medicine Lake volcano in California, northeast of Mount Shasta. The other ended about 20 miles to the south of Bend, Oregon, at the active Newberry volcano. And during this journey, the moving mantle rock would have contributed to a number of volcanic eruptions over the past 2 million years. The eruptions would have happened in a volcanic area in the state of Idaho. That's known as the Craters of the Moon. That's where we have the Craters of the Moon National Park and Preserve. And according to U.S. Geological Survey, Yellowstone Volcano is a hotspot of activity where some melting in the mantle does occur. And the mantle is the layer of rock between the Earth's crust and the hot core. USGS says that the intense heat generated by the hotspot causes melting of the crust, forming basaltic and rhyolitic lava. Rhyolite is extremely high in silica content, which makes it very viscous and prevents gas from escaping the magma. And that means that when large amounts of rhyolite accumulate in the crust, large explosive eruptions can result because the gas can't escape. Dr. Camp said these findings are important because they can help geologists better understand how mantles all over the world help feed active volcanoes. The mantle rock that has reached California spread over many millions of years of the westward movement. And according to Dr. Camp, this movement was triggered when the Yellowstone mantle plume hit the North American tectonic plate. The plate's cold temperatures acted as a barrier of sorts at a depth of about 62 miles down, that's 100 kilometers down, and it forced the plume to melt and spread to the west. In his study of the Yellowstone mantle, the geologist wrote, geothermometry studies and geochemical considerations suggest that the low velocity feature may be composed of moderately hot, low density mantle derived from the Yellowstone plume, but diluted by thermomechanical erosion and entertainment of colder mantle lithosphere. And then he said finger-like conduits of plume-modified mantle under the Quaternary eruption sites delineate flow-line channels that have developed across the broader mantle structure since 2 million years ago. And we know that the last time Yellowstone supervolcano erupted with super eruptions, they have found evidence that 3 super eruptions at Yellowstone in 2.3 million years. The last of these eruptions was the Lava Creek blast about 640,000 years ago. Since then, there have been smaller eruptions, 70,000 years ago, lava eruption, and 80 non-explosive eruptions. That is, they were smaller. And according to USGS, there have been 80 non-explosive events, of which 27 produced rhyolite lava flows. So as we can see, this has to do with the subduction of the Pacific plate under the North American plate. And of course, all this magma you can see there, especially the circle under Ridgecrest, feeds towards the California high threat volcanoes. And it also goes, as you can see at the 11 o'clock position, into Yellowstone. So this is what we have to keep in mind when a lot of times we see the Ridgecrest earthquakes giving us quake swarms in Long Valley caldera and also Yellowstone supervolcano. This has happened many times in the past. This is by Sebastian Ketley on Express UK. Now it's interesting when we see the other images of the mantle plumes or whatever they find underneath in the central United States, as you can see here, around Texas, Arkansas, even close to Kansas. As we said, Kansas has, 15 volcanoes, diamond-spitting volcanoes. And I don't know if they have any more information concerning the mid-continental rift, which goes from Lake Superior, dipping to the west towards central United States, all the way down to Texas. Anyway, this is the makeup of even the central United States. You can see some activity there with magma. But of course, the reddest part of it is Ridgecrest, all of these areas into Long Valley caldera, which is a supervolcano, of course. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.